Well, now on this video, we're going to look at what we call how to dominate, and not only dominate, but as well harass money. And guess what? I know that sounds like a quite of an interesting topic. You know why? That is exactly what money is doing to you. It is harassing you and has actually dominated you. Let me explain how that happens, okay? I've ever been in a situation whereby you take a pen and paper and you sit down and you're like, okay, fine. Last week I had like 10,000. I don't know exactly where my money went. Okay, fine. I took 2,000. I sent to somebody. I took 3,000. I did this. I took three. Guess what is happening? The money is already ahead of you. What does it mean? Now you're trying to do what we call the catch-up game. Money is ahead of you. You're not in charge of that money. It's already dominating you. It's dictating what you should do. Another thing, for example, if you close your eyes and ask yourself, you always wake up early in the morning, you do as much as you can, you toil as much as you can so that you can be able to make money. You get what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, you can't make money. What we do is to attract money. Now, what happens is that the money dictates when you should rest. Some of you guys are not even resting. You're working all the way from Monday to Monday. Guess what is happening? I mean, in the name of money. And you say it's not enough. Why? Because some of the expenses that you have surpasses that amount of money. So therefore, it means that money is dominating you. Now, how can you actually reverse the thing and be in a situation whereby now you're dominating it, and you're not only dominating it, but you're harassing it? Let's get into the business. And maybe perhaps you're watching me for the first time. Hey, don't get scared. My name is Joseph. Talk about money. I'm just literally a guy with a camera and a good fair share of knowledge as far as the money is concerned. And this is how I do it. I upload a video each and every day. So if you don't want to miss any of my good videos, this is how you do it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Down below here on your right, there is a small button written subscribe. It is in black. Hit that magical button, like the video. Yes, thank you. Let's get into the business. Now, here we are. Okay, now here we have the money, all right? And here we have you. Okay, now what happens is that at all the time you try as much as you can to catch up with the money. And most of the people have been harassed and been dominated with the money. For example, you can be in a situation whereby you have what we call the unhealthy debt. The unhealthy debt, meaning like you're in a situation whereby the debt that you're having, you funded the what thing we call the consumables. You have more than 10 apps that you've actually borrowed the money. You aren't in a position whereby you can do what? You can actually be able to repay back this amount of money. You're in a situation whereby we say, hey, you are on a distress. By the way, it's only that due to the work, I cannot be able to disclose some of the information. But if I tell you some of the guys who calls me in terms of this information, I mean, you'll be seriously shocked. Now, this is how you dominate. Now, let's look the term to dominate. Let's look the term to dominate, okay? How do you dominate? Or what does it mean to dominate? Is to have dominion, is to have dominion, is to have dominion over something. To have dominion over something is to be in control over something, is to be, the manager of a thing, is to be in a situation whereby you dictate your ways goes. And how exactly can you dominate? How exactly can you have dominion over money? It is quite interesting and it's quite simple and hard at the same time, depending on who you are talking to. See, since we were born, we were being told, guess what? Get all those good grades and what have you? Guess what? Go ahead and get a job. Go ahead and get a job. So if you get a job, guess what happens? They give you salary. If they give you salary, go ahead and do what? Get up for your services and try to save. They don't talk about investment. They tell you to save. And then after that, go ahead and make sure that at least you're okay by the time you retire. Oh, don't forget, make sure that you get kids. And if it is possible, if you come from Africa, they tell you get as many as you can. You know why? Because they're going to help you when you become old. Guess what? You're not playing the right game. Now, what happens with the money is this. When you get a job, one thing, first of all, never ever think that a job is you're secured with a job. No, this is a temporary situation. Job, guess what? Job is a painkiller. Does not cure the disease. It's just a painkiller, to sort of caution you from the pain that is the lack and inadequate amount of money that you have. So whenever you know you are in a job somewhere and you know you haven't done anything in this job that you have been in, just understand when you're in a job, you're just been offered a temporary sort of a solution. You're supposed to be thinking on how you can go ahead and dominate the world. Remember, even the Bible tells us, dominate and have dominion over the world. Now, this is how you do it. There is no way. Listen, there is no way, okay? You cannot dominate money without you having something called the budget. There is a video I made last time and I told you guys, guess what? Whether you like it or not, money is not physical thing as you see. See, when you take a note or a bill, depends on how you call it, you see some domination written there. You think that is what money. No, money is very spiritual than it is physical. I repeat, money is very spiritual than it is physical. That note thing or that coin that you see, that is a physical presentation. That is how can we, that is a physical manifestation of the money. But the reality is money is very spiritual. And anything spiritual, there is a language that it understands. And the language that money understands is the budget. See, when you have a budget over money, guess what you're doing? You're actually dictating what money should do. Not, money is not telling you what I should do. And I'm going to give you this simple example, all right? I'm going to give you this simple example. Be with me, okay? Walk with me. Now, here you are. This is your door, all right? This is your door here. This is your door. This is where your money, this is where you live, and this is your house and what have you. Now, the money comes in. Whatever you're going to call it, it can come in terms of a salary. It can come in terms of, let's say, capital gain. Okay, it can come in whatever it is. The money shows up at your doorstep, okay? The money shows up here. So the moment the money shows up here, you're waiting for it. Obviously, you do so very anxiously, all right? So the moment money shows up, you do not have a plan. You do not have a plan. You know what? You're just operating on a freestyle. The money gets in, and then the money sees you, and you be like, what do we do? The money is waiting to be told, hey, what goes where? Say maybe you earn like 50K, all right? 50 G's, 50K a month. The money comes up, and here you are. All right. And the only thing that people are sure of where what goes where is the rent. Maybe let's say you do not have what we call a plan. You see, money is supposed to go through a plan before it reaches you and all those kind of things. You must have a system already that works. So the money shows up, you do not have any plan. And this plan here is what we call the budget. So the plan that you have here is called the budget. Say you do not have it. So what happens is that money shows up at your doorstep because there's no any existing plan. Guess what happens? They be like, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. But if you have a plan in existence, guess what happens? The money shows up and you tell the money, or the money gets the plan and be like, hey, guess what? 10,000, go for the rent. 15,000, go for my food. Hey, by the way, don't forget, 20,000, go for my savings. 5,000, go for my black tax. And 2,500, go for my utilities. 3,000, go for my insurances and all those kind of things. Guess what? There is already an existing plan. So if you have an existing plan, you don't even ask yourself, where does the money go? No, why? Because the plan is already there. Money shows up, adheres to the plan, and that is exactly how it is. So the moment you operate under principle of management, remember one thing, even God stops growth when there is no management. By the way, I am preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. So if you have the plan, then it means that you have what we call the principle of management. And when you have the principle of management, now you're creating the dominion over the money. Then how do you harass? We've done with what we call the dominion. Now, how do you harass it? To harass it, basically here, I don't mean like, going out there misusing it and what have you. I simply mean when you have a dominion over something, then you can be able to manipulate it the way you want it. And this is the difference between the rich and the poor. You get the money shows up, then the moment that money shows up, the thing that you contemplate in your head is about, what can I buy? You know what? See, now, I'm going to show you a very simple example here. See, here there is a rich person, here there is a rich person, and here we have a poor person. When I say poor and rich, by the way, it is not a physical representation of the pocket. It's actually physical manifestation of what you think and how or what is in your head, okay? Now, here's the rich person. All of them, expose them to a certain amount of money. Say you expose this guy to $1 million bob, and you expose the same guy to $1 million bob. See, when you're poor mentally, remember one thing, when you say we are poor, I know you may attribute it to the inadequate amount of money or totally lack of it. But the reality is, poverty starts all the way from the brain before it goes to the pocket. Now, here you see, you subject the two guys with the equal amount of money. So the person who has what we call the rich mentality or the rich individual, they think, what exactly can I do with this money? How can I invest? By the way, how can I make this $1 million bob to be 1.2? How can I make this 1 million to be 1.1, 1.2, 10, 3, forever amount of money? I mean, in simple terms, I'm saying they think on how or what they can do with the money. But now here's the problem is, now if you're poor mentality and you've never gotten this amount of money, you get it for the first time, guess what happens? You have a lot of airs. You tend to think like everyone doesn't think. And then the other thing is that you think about buying things that are not even necessary. I mean, for God's sake, the first time you've gotten yourself $1 million, instead of asking myself, wow, what exactly did I do to acquire this $1 million, Bob? And what would happen if I was to double exactly what I do on that so that I can be able to get two? No, you don't think about that. You'll be like, guess what? Wow, I think there is a car I can buy at 600,000. Oh, wow, I've been thinking about buying myself a carpet. I've been thinking about buying myself a... You get what I'm saying? Now, at this particular situation is that you do not have the ability to dominate the money. Therefore, harassing it is not even in question. So what you dominate, then it means that you can harass. When you say harass, is actually doing opposite of what the money tends to tell you. And this is how it goes. You see, when you're simple, when you have what you call the simple mentality, when you have this easily manipulated mentality, whenever you get the money, no matter how small it is, you think from a consumption point of view instead of an investment point of view, then the money is actually harassing you. But the moment you violate, and let me tell you one thing, the moment you violate that what you feel in terms of the emotions, that there's time that you actually make a decision that is way bigger than you even thought. That's a reality. So if you can manage to dominate and be able to harass money at the same time, I am telling you, you do have what we call the recipe of success. Those are the two things that you need to have them. And I'm going to echo this. I'm going to repeat this. So for you to dominate the money, you must have a system that is working. You must have a budget that is working. And this budget, it has to adhere to the rules of certain amount of money has to go to the savings for the purposes of investments. But did I say in 2024 we no longer save money, we just invest directly, no matter how small it is. And number two, I said when it comes to harassment, that's what you dominate, that's what you have a control of, then you can be able to harass it. When I say harass it, I mean in terms of you can manipulate it to a point whereby you can do the thing that you want to do with it that can help you grow. And this is why you find, by the way, there was some of the stories here in Kenya. There was a certain guy, a business individual who is a Kenyan. The guy made 1.2 billion Kenyan shillings in less than 1 hour. I mean, seriously, you can go check that video. By the way, I'm not tipping. It is true. That guy made that amount of money in a single hour. Like he had a deal from one room, and then there was a deal, they closed the other deal on the other room, and within the few, whatever, the guy had 1.2. You get what I'm saying? Like you have the ability to manipulate, you have the ability to go out there, you buy something, you knock this with this one, and then you invest on this one, you grab these opportunities, and then you move to the next level. And that is exactly how you harass the money, and the money will never be ahead of you in any way. Money will always be dominating the money. The money follows there, and then here you are, you're in domination because you're directing where the money should go. The moment you will win this, I know this is a very deep topic that I can discuss, and by the way, I can actually generate more than 10 videos in this area of dominating or dominance, and also doing what? Harassing the money, because it is, I don't know how I can even frame it. I was taught this by a one individual, and I listened to that guy talking to me close to 1.5 hours. Honestly, I wasn't picking anything. I mean, I was losing him along the way, but as the time goes, then I realized, wow, this is exactly what he was talking about. And then the guy was so much positive oriented, such that, I mean, the guy was actually investing in areas that I was like, I mean, how did you even get this idea? Can you even work and all those kind of things? So learn to be in dominance of your money. Do not let it control you. Don't be in a situation whereby you just drink, and then when I ask you, I have a guy whom I asked a question. I think it was around January. I asked the guy, I mean, wow, why are you so low? And the guy told me, wow, you see, I got nothing in my pocket. I'm so broke. And asked, what happened? And the guy, this is the answer. Yeah, we just from December. And I was, so what does the December has to do with you being broke? I mean, it's a month where we celebrate. And I say, okay, who dictates who? Is it the month that dictates what you should use, or is it you who dictates? You get what I'm saying? So having dominance over the money, that is the most important thing that you can ever have. You ain't gonna be dissuaded away by people, hey, saying, okay, by virtue of you having this money, you ought to do this. Personally, I really hate that. I really hate that when you say, because you're my friends and you guys, you're buying car, then I have to buy it, or maybe if you guys, you're building this and that. It has nothing to do with me doing what you're doing. No, it has everything to do with what I decide that is what's right and appropriate for me. There's a reality, and that is exactly how you do it. Well, I know up to now some of you, I might lose you, I might have lost you or along the way, but guess what? I'm gonna dwell a little much on this topic, and I'm gonna make several videos, because we're here to teach each other. We're here to learn from each other. Just like an iron sharpens another iron. That's why I'm telling you, hey, come on, make sure that you hit that like button as well as subscribing, so that we'll be among those guys who'll be notified whenever I upload a new good video. And by the way, if you'd like to have a conversation with me, never forget to pick that number from the description of this video so that we can have the conversation. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.